When it comes to tournament play, we think of only the biggest and best Pokemon with the highest stats as the ones that are successful. But what if I told you some tournaments, even major high-level ones, were won by some of the weakest low-stat Pokemon? That's right, despite them being as durable as wet paper, on the rarest of occasions, these Pokemon actually wound up winning. And we've decided to celebrate this by gathering a selection of the worst Pokemon that have ever won major tournaments. And we're starting off with the most iconic of them all, Pikachu. Almost all the Pokemon on this list made their mark in VGC, but leading off, we've got the single soul pick, the format's undisputed champion of a bad Pokemon winning. There were almost two choices here, and it's a shame that there aren't more. In 2011, a major team tournament finals tiebreaker featured a Gen 5 OU game with the level 1 Aaron, attempting to pull off the fear strategy, but sadly this wound up being a misguided idea that failed badly, or else it would have also made its way here. Pikachu on the other hand triumphed, well, sort of. Here's the situation. It's November 2017, and Sun and Moon are about to be eclipsed by their Ultra follow-ups. The fourth official ladder tournament, or OLT, is coming to a close. It's a grueling tournament where players first have to qualify by succeeding on the ladder, a period which regularly drives many of the Pokemon's finest minds to madness. And then they have to participate in an extensive double elimination playoff. The upside of the tournament's demanding nature is that it's quite skill intensive, regularly resulting in impressive wins from several of the all-time best players. The two players that wound up making it to the finals were Sabella, who, and as you'll see from the replay, we're not making this up, also went by the name Booty, or in this case, Le Booty, which makes it French and therefore cool. However, we'll stick with his primary name, Sabella. Anyway, Le Sabella was part of the new wave of Gen 7 players who were making a name for themselves, and this rendition of the OLT was his breakout tournament. Sabella was coming to the finals from the losers bracket, meaning he had to win 2 best-of-3 sets to win the tournament. But he was on such a hot streak at the time, plenty of players in the know expected him to take it. The trouble was his opponent was CL, who had long since been one of the greatest players across many generations and metagames. The previous year, they had won their second official individual tournament and thus gained the trophy for it, which was considered the most prestigious achievement in the singles world. Back then, to even have one individual trophy was a big deal. To have 2 was incredibly rare, even legendary. No player had yet achieved 3, but CL was on the brink of becoming the first, especially as they were coming into the finals from the winners bracket. CL won the first series' first game in a strong, straightforward affair, meaning they had merely to win one of the next 2 games to walk away with the championship. Game 2 began, and suddenly the spectators viewing began questioning reality. Was that a Pikachu? Yes, indeed it was. Why on earth would a player as serious and competitive as CL bring a Pikachu, which, rest assured, bore no competitive merit whatsoever? Why would they bring it to such a major game? Well, it wasn't to embarrass their opponent, as much as it felt that way to Sabella at the time. No, it was because CL, despite being known as the nicest user around, also had a slight mischievous streak. As any strong competitive player, they had some opinions they were quite firm on, such as Scald being a ridiculously broken move. And one of these opinions was that Mega Manectric was absolutely terrible. They would regularly say Pikachu was more viable. One of CL's friends told them that if they really believed that, they should bring Pikachu to a serious tournament game instead of Mega Manectric. CL promised that if they were in a tournament final with a sizable lead, they would bring Pikachu, and they kept their promise. With a 1-0 lead in the series, as well as having a second series to fall on, the time was perfect for Pikachu to make its big stage debut. So how did Pikachu perform in the actual battle? Amazingly, Pikachu actually did do something. Kinda. CL's Landorus Therian U-turned out of Sabella's own Landorus and brought in Pikachu, which would outspeed Sabella's defensive Landorus. That's right, Pikachu chased out Landorus Therian. Manaphy came in and absorbed Pikachu's Surf. Pika, being slower, was forced to switch out. That's about it. As its next switch-in after Tapu Koko had KO'd Mega Mawile with Volt Switch was its final one, needing to preserve their Celesteela's health. CL sadly sacrificed Pikachu to Latios' Psyshock. It was the right choice, of course, as CL, Celesteela, Landorus, and Koko brought the win home, meaning Pikachu did actually contribute something to the victory. CL thus became the first player with 3 individual trophies, and did so with Pikachu. Unmatched style. Now, would Mega Manectric have performed better? Oh, absolutely. Did Pikachu chase out the most spammed Pokemon in OU? Also yes. The real impressive part was not the use of Pikachu itself, but how CL was functionally playing a 5-on-6 game, made even more notable by the fact that Pikachu being used in the theoretical Mega Manectric slot, thus meaning CL didn't even have a Mega on their team. An admirable display of pettiness. Talk about about believing in something so much you'd bring Pikachu to such a game. Now, with singles done, we're moving over to VGC, and our first choice there is Jamie Boyd's Cottonee. Whimsicott is an excellent VGC Pokemon. Its amazing support move pool elevated by its prankster ability, giving Tailwind and its ilk priority. What would drive someone to use Cottonee in its stead? Yes, it has Eviolite, but you'd be giving up on Whimsicott's ability to actually do damage with Stab Moonblast, a move that's likely to go first because of its incredible base 116 speed stat. Well, to answer the question, we have to examine the team building process of Jamie Boyd, one of VGC's most creative minds, who wielded his Cottonee en route to an impressive win at the 2016 Liverpool Regionals. He wanted to update the team he had brought to Worlds, which was Mega Rayquaza, Xerneas, Arcanine, Gyarados, Scrafty, and yes, Whimsicott. It was a strong team built around the triple Intimidate core, cycling attack drops so as to make the restricted Pokemon even more difficult to deal with. The problem? After Wolfglick won Worlds with Mega Gengar, Jamie expected Mega Gengar usage to rise in the post-Worlds meta, and set out looking for a solution. He was inspired to try Aegislash to solve this issue after seeing Jamie Keen use it on a team that was otherwise similar, but fitting it would be difficult. So Jamie decided to try and open up a team building slot by consolidating Scrafty and Arcanine into Infernape while maintaining a Dark type by making Gyarados a Mega. This allowed Aegislash to fit, though at the cost of 2 Intimidates, meaning the central Intimidate cycling strategy was gone, and suddenly even Gyarados' initial Intimidate pre-Mega was gone, because Jamie quickly realized, number 1, he did not like having 2 Megas at all. Having Mega Rayquaza will do that, and 2, Thunder Kyogre was absolutely devastating. As such, Gyarados was replaced by Rotom Wash. Okay, but where's Whimsicott in all this? In the item selection, that's where. Mega Rayquaza got Life Orb, Xerneas received the obligatory Power Herb, Aegislash had Power Anklet, Rotom Wash Assault Vest, and now Jamie had 2 Pokemon remaining, Whimsicott and Infernape, which both really wanted Focus Sash. There really was no good alternative for Whimsicott, given its immense frailty. It needed the item to not get wiped off the battlefield instantly by all the high-powered attacks flying around, but this was also the case for Infernape, even more so not just because its typing made it even easier to take advantage of, but because it needed to guarantee surviving at low health, so its Blaze ability would activate and it'd be able to unleash powerful overheats. So how did Jamie choose? Well, the idea was basically that Whimsicott needed to be able to take hits, so he sacrificed the ability to actually do damage in exchange for devolving it down to Cottonee, which in lieu of Whimsicott's usual plus speed nature and maximum speed EVs, had its bulk completely maxed out in conjunction with its obligatory Eviolite. As a result, Cottonee became deceptively tanky. It wasn't going to be walling Pokemon forever, but it wasn't supposed to. Eviolite was basically a dollar store Focus Sash, and it performed this task admirably, as Eviolite allowed it to just barely hang on against a slew of strong attacks. It survived Mega Kangaskhan Double Edge, plus 2 Xerneas Dazzling Gleam, Talonflame Brave Bird, Kyogre Ice Beam, and was even overwhelmingly favored to survive Mega Salamence's Hyper Voice. From there, it would do a fabulous Whimsicott impression with Priority Encore, Safeguard, Swagger, and especially Fake Tears, which enabled its teammates many dangerous special attacks like Mega Rayquaza's Draco Meteor to drop opponents instantly. Effectively packing 2 sashes on one team, Jamie rode his team's support capabilities all the way to a dominating tournament win. And they didn't just let Mega Rayquaza unleash the full extent of its power, but they were more well balanced than ever with the addition of Aegislash to the team that Cottonee enabled in the first place, meaning it wasn't just Cottonee itself that was putting in the work. It was the fact that it allowed the team to exist. Major props to Jamie, whose own YouTube video on the subject was a superb source of information. Check it out if you'd like to hear him go into complete detail on every member of the team and his tournament run. Now, using a not fully evolved Pokemon is wild, but is it as wild as using a Pokemon that's level 1, like Smeargle at level 1? Smeargle and its infamous double sleep Dark Void antics, as well as Game Freak's confusingly over-the-top response, has been well documented on this channel many a time now, but this level 1 incident was not from its reign of terror in VGC 2016. No, this goes back to 2008, the 4th generation, where it didn't even have Moody yet. What it did wield incredibly well, though, was the unique combination of Fake Out and Follow Me, 2 of Doubles' best support moves. The fact that it packed these, which are so good it sometimes almost doesn't even matter what Pokemon uses them, as long as they get used, alongside the uber broken move that was Dark Void, means it suddenly makes sense why a Pokemon with a lower base stat total than Rattata is teaming up with the strongest monsters in the game. These 3 moves made Smeargle an astonishing good support Pokemon that generated free turns for his teammates like it owed them money. Smeargle was superb at ensuring its partner Pokemon would not take damage between his triumphant triumvirate of turn 1 flinch, dual sleep, and redirection. Despite the early years of VGC not being well documented, the way Japanese player Izuru Yoshimura wielded his Smeargle to such success was too good to be lost to history. He wasn't just using Smeargle's talents though, he was using these talents from a level 1 Smeargle. Why oh why would someone do this? Well, Smeargle's one halfway decent stat is its speed. Yes, Fake Out and Follow Me have priority, but don't you want semi-fast sleep? Turns out, no, not always, and this can be true in singles as well. The slower sleep is more powerful. When you sleep something slower than you, it has already burned its requisite 1 turn of sleep, and can therefore already wake up on the next turn, meaning that you got nothing out of the sleep. Of course, in doubles, this dynamic is not quite the same, as a faster sleep can render an opponent immobile while the partner attacks them, but the benefit of slower sleep against 2 targets is utterly enormous. There was just one option though. What if you do actually want that fast double sleep? Well, you use Trick Room of course. Izuru was running a Trick Room team, and thus he could have it both ways. It wasn't just about Dark Void either. Being level 1 allowed Smeargle to not only guarantee that any hit would bring it down to 1 HP with Focus Sash, but to guarantee it was bringing opponents down to basically KO'd HP even if it didn't get hit by an attack at all. Izuru's level 1 Smeargle squad, surrounded by Bronzong, Snorlax, and Metagross, won him the Japanese national qualifier, and he brought this same team to the video game championships, going all the way to the finals. There he faced against Yasuhito Kajiwara, and his team of Metagross, Latios, Zapdos, Cresselia, and Smeargle was a star. It led off and flinched Cresselia with Fake Out, being knocked down to its Focus Sash by Yasuhito's Metagross as his partner Bronzong set up Trick Room. The strategy was now in action. Smeargle unleashed its Dark Void, and both Meta and Cress were hit by it, but both were holding Lumberries, and Smeargle fainted. But by expending the Lumberry, Smeargle allowed Bronzong to safely hypnosis the Metagross. This in turn allowed Izuru to belly drum with Snorlax and to then psych up with Metagross, letting him run away with the victory. And so the first official Gen 4 World Championship tournament was thus won by not just a Smeargle, but a level 1 Smeargle. And the normal type chaos continues with the next choice with Eevee and Clefairy. Call Eevee Papa Roach the way it cut lives into pieces with its Last Resort. Okay, not directly, but with Last Resort and EVMZ, it was able to utilize Extreme Evil Boost, which gave it an Omni Boost, the same name given to a boost in every single stat. Not evasion and accuracy, but attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. Now, an Omniboost is incredible, as demonstrated by Pokemon like Como-O and its clangorous Soul Blaze, but the wild thing about Extreme Evil Boost is that it gave +2 to every stat, unlike other Omniboosts, which gave +1 across the board. Reasonably so, as anything beyond that would just be too much. Of course, the extreme boost of Extreme Evil Boost was more than balanced out by the fact that it was on, you know, Eevee. It wasn't going to be getting much done even with +3 across the board. The thing was though, it wasn't Eevee that was going to be doing the sweeping with the boost. It had Baton Pass, a move famed for dominating singles. Indeed, Eevee had shattered Gen 7 Ubers with it, but not so much so in the 2-on-2, 4 Pokemon per team doubles format of VGC. However, the boost was so ridiculous that some players tried to make it work, and it was certainly inconsistent as all heck. But if you got that boost to Power Trip Crocodile, it was almost certainly lights out, good night. All Eevee had to do was get that pass off, but yeah, good luck with that. The Eevee gimmick was quite unreliable, as his team went completely all in on the strategy, which makes it incredibly matchup dependent in addition to demanding a high level of execution. But one player, Jeremy Rodriguez, did win with it, stunning the 2017 Daytona Regionals. His team helped Eevee get the pass off with several of VGC's finest supporters, utilizing familiar faces like Smeargle and Whimsicott. But the real key to Eevee's success, its most important partner, so crucial as to be mandatory on any team with it, was another not fully evolved Pokemon, the one it's sharing this category with, Clefairy. While Clefable may rule the roost in singles with Magic Guard, Clefairy and its double-specific Friend Guard have long since made it the preferred Clef in VGC. Friend Guard making Clefairy's allies take 75% of would-be damage is extraordinary support that enables all types of dangerous strategies, like Extreme Evil Boost Eevee. That's not all either. It's got Redirection and Follow Me, which alongside Eviolite boosted bulk helps everything, very much including Eevee. Even more. Additionally, it's got great speed control in the form of Icy Wind, and it can make its allies even stronger with Helping Hand. It can even heal its allies with Heal Pulse. Its support move pool is an overflowing embarrassment of riches. Clefairy has been so legitimately good for so long, it almost feels wrong to put it here. But again, it's a Clefairy, so it feels right to at least mention it. And this isn't even Clefairy's biggest win. No, Clefairy's largest triumph was 2024's Los Angeles Regionals, with a whopping 618 players in competition. Montana Mott rocked a team of incredibly hard hitters to the finals, Urshifu, Calyrex Shadow, Rillaboom, and was largely able to do so because their bulk was enhanced by Clefairy, enabling them to unleash their wicked power. In the first match of the finals, best out of 3 against Ryan Haig, Clefairy's Helping Hand boosted Calyrex Shadow's Terra Fairy Draining Kiss, allowing it to crush the opposing Calyrex Ice with without fearing wide guard blocking Astral Barrage. Then in the second match, Clefairy's Follow Me let it sacrifice itself to a double target from Pelipper and Raging Bolt, which in turn allowed its partner Rillaboom to take out the Raging Bolt with Wood Hammer. Clefairy was no hanger-on. It was very much an active, significant participant in the win. Pikachu, Clefairy, Eevee, we've got a lot of fan favorites here, but we're going to go full circle with our grand finale with Pachirisu, of course. I mean, you knew this was coming, and if you didn't, prepare to learn of perhaps the greatest moment in competitive Pokemon history. At the very least, it's the most stylish. We started the video with Pikachu, and we're ending it with Gen 4's Pika-clone, but here, Pachirisu wasn't just decoration to prove a point, it was imperative to the victory. Pachirisu is famously a very, very, very bad Pokemon, which is a shame because its design is delightful, but sadly it is so, because its stats and move pool border on the non-existent. But it was precisely its move pool, which made its one triumphant pretty much the best thing ever. In 2014, the first year of Gen 6 VGC, a Korean player named Sejin Park rocketed his way to the finals. His play was impressive, but what really had everyone cheering for him in wide-eyed jubilation was one of the Pokemon he was playing with so impressively. Amidst his team of powerful VGC mainstays like Garchomp, Talonflame, and Mega Gardevoir, Pachirisu not only stood out like a sore thumb, but was also putting in as much work as any of them. Don't you just love the image of Garchomp and Pachirisu standing side by side on the battlefield? How did this come to be? Well, Sejin was also rocking a Mega Gyarados, and as it turns out, Pachirisu paired with it beautifully. With Follow Me, any electric attacks aimed at Gyarados would actually replenish Pachirisu's health thanks to its Volt Absorb ability. Pachirisu's Flying Resist also meant it excelled at redirecting Talonflame's Brave Birds. But wasn't Pachirisu famously frail? You'd think so, but with Eevee investment and an impish nature, it suddenly became quite the physical tank. And it wasn't just redirecting attached to its deceptively adroit hit-taking end either. It completely committed to assisting its teammates by profusely harassing their enemies. First with Nuzzle, whose low damage was still damage, and thus meant its paralysis infliction was not stopped by Taunt, while also breaking Focus Sashes. Second, it has Super Fang, which slashed half an opponent's health off like it was Leatherface's chainsaw. The Pachirisu Nuzlocke massacre drove its way through the finals against Jody Azarelli, a superb player in his own right. In Game 1, Pachirisu paralyzed Tyranitar while absorbing a Rotom-Mold Leaf Storm, redirecting its Will-O-Wisp, and eating the Scarf-locked Tyranitar's Ice Punch. The crowd screamed. When Pachirisu finally did go down, it was to the burn. You were not taking it out with direct damage. Sejin took Game 1, and in Game 2, he brought Pachirisu again. Here, it really showed off its tanking abilities. On the same turn, it had to tank Tyranitar's Rock Slide and the Salamence Draco Meteor that it redirected away from its partner Garchomp, and it survived. The field had 3 pseudo-legendaries on it, and yet it was Pachirisu that commanded the spotlight. And that wasn't all. On the final turn, Pachirisu Super Fanged Rotom-Mold to half health, which allowed Garchomp to take it out with a critical Dragon Claw. The little Pachirisu that could was now a world champion. And thank you so much to our Platinum patrons. Thank you to Amphozenus, Alex Sable, Anthony Belval Renault, Bingleton, Daniel Isbeast, Corman, Eric Dissing, Funky, Glitcherton, Hal, Jack G, King Yabber, Nightfall, Megamon VGC, Mojo Gameslayer, Nurse Jake, Pretzel SP, Sojiro Sakura, Spavoon, Gylaria, Soras and Croxon, Shiwei Miji, Stoneface Colin, Kiboflu, Wardine for their major support of our videos.